So the All Blacks have named their squad 33 guys to take on the French in the June internationals. So we'll just quickly go through the squad for you guys who have not seen it. So they're taking interesting mix of players. In the backs got Jordie Barrett, Ben Smith, Naholo, Milner Skada, Rieko Ioane. These are kind of all your outside backs. Midfielders Crotty, Goodhue, Anton Litter-Brown, Sonny Bill Williams, and Nani Laumapi. In the halves, Bowden Barrett, Damien McKenzie, Richie Mo'unga, Aaron Smith, TJ Perenara, and Te Toira Rangi. In the forwards, it's a little more interesting, I think. So Lucy's got Luke Whitelock, Jordan Taufua, Liam Squire, Sam Cane, who I thought was under an injury cloud, but I guess they've had some updates on his injury. Ari Savia, Shannon Frizzell, Via Fafita. That's pretty much it for your Lucy's. Specialist locks, they've only got 3. Sam Whitelock, Brody Retallick, and Scott Barrett. Props, Franks, Tumaga Allen, Tuangafasi, Moody, and Perry, and only 2 hookers in Taylor and Harris. I should say in kind of a wider squad cover thing, they've also called up Akira Ioane and Liam Coltman, but not officially part of the 33-man squad. I think Harris is expecting a baby, so that's why Coltman is kind of on paternity leave watch. So 3 new caps for the squad in Tahuri Orangi, in Taufua, and who was the other one? Frizzell. So yeah, these guys are kind of 3 bolters from the squad. A few guys in who've been in and around the All Blacks before, but not really seen much time in the black jersey. This is guys like Goodhue, like Tumang Allen, who hasn't been in for a long time. Luke Whitelock's only played 2 games for the All Blacks. Tuangafasi's not really hugely capped. So there's a few guys like that. Fafita's still pretty early on in his All Blacks career. But yeah, there's a few guys who they've had to leave out as well. I think in terms of, I should say captain is Sam Whitelock, vice captains are Sam Cane and Ben Smith. In terms of guys who are probably the winners of the squad, you would have to say Nihi Milner-Skudder is a pretty big winner. He's not played that many games this season because he's come back from injury. He's only played 11 games for the All Blacks in his career because it's really been one of stops and starts with injuries mainly. So you'd have to think he's largely been picked on reputation rather than form, but also because from what the coaches have said is they wanted a guy who brings something a bit different. Like you've got Naholo and Rieko Ioane, who are pretty big ball-running guys, and Nihi's something of a different mold. He's not a traditional big winger. He's more of your footwork and nous man. So yeah, it just brings a different aspect. He can cover fullback as well. Te Toira Orangi definitely should be feeling pretty chuffed. Definitely a bolter because he's still a pretty young guy, not been around Super Rugby that long. So for him to get an All Blacks call up at this point in his career is pretty good. He's jumped the queue of a few guys ahead of him for sure. The All Blacks are really trying to solve that mystery of who is the third choice halfback in New Zealand rugby, and he's the guy for the minute, but there's been a few guys who've been in that spot in the last few years. Luke Whitelock kind of gets rewarded for his all-round game being good. He's not just a defensive man anymore. He's got a bit of development going on in his skills, especially ball in hand. So I guess good reward for him. You have to wonder if he would be in the squad if Kieran Reid was fit, but I'm sure he'll take the call up, no doubt. Taufua, I guess, gets reward for staying loyal to New Zealand. Like, he signed a contract to stay until 2019, and you have to think at some point in the background there were conversations there that, hey, if you sign a new contract, we'll give you a call up, because he's getting to that point in his career where it's like, if I don't get called up soon, I'm just going to go overseas and take the money. So he signed the contract. Now he's got his All Blacks call up, so pretty fitting that he gets that reward. Frizzell is an interesting one. Again, not played that much Super Rugby. And a cynical part of me says that they're trying to snap him up for New Zealand because I believe he also qualifies for Tonga due to him being born there, and also for Wales due to his father. So I can't help but wonder if part of this is just snapping up a kind of guy in his early 20s, early mid-20s to prevent anybody else from getting to him. That's the cynical part of me, but he's an explosive-looking player, but it's definitely a factor in my mind anyway. Tumanga Allen, good, gets a bit of reward for some of his good form this season as well, so that's nice to see. For every winner, though, there has to be a loser. Akira Ioane, even though he's in that kind of wider group, will be pretty disappointed he hasn't got the call. I think Luke Whitelock probably is a step ahead of him, just in terms of his all-round game. So Akira's only 22, needs to focus on those areas to improve, and I'm sure he'll get some guidance when he's in that kind of wider group. Ben Lamb, for sure. I mean, he's the man of the moment, but the All Blacks, by picking guys like Nihi Mulniskata, show you that it's not just about being the man of the minute. They want a man for the season and for multiple seasons. So I think he's losing out because, like I said, he's too similar of a style player to Naholo and Ioane. He's not. He's a big ball carrying guy who's going to bump guys off. So got a bit of gas. Not like Mulniskata, who's a bit different and plays more than one position. Matt Todd. I don't know why that guy's still around. He is just loyal to a fault. He's only played, I think, fewer than 20 New Zealand All Blacks games. So gets looked over once again for some other guys. He's got to be pretty heartbroken, but he should be used to it by now, to be fair. Romano also suffers from the fact that they've only taken 3 specialist locks and probably look to Fafita to cover that spot as well, so he's lost out for that. Halfbacks, Weber, I think, especially seeing as his teammate as junior has jumped him. Pulu was never really in the conversation, but still, I think that's one of his aspirations has been to get back into the All Blacks, but not to be. Drummond and Hall. I think if you're any of these guys, you have to be looking at it and saying, all right, well, if you're not going to select me for the All Blacks, I'm going to consider my options, because these guys have all been around for a while and not really had much in the way of the nod from New Zealand Rugby to say that they're going to be options. And for them to go with Tahuri Arangi is just a reinforcement of that they are all on the outer. So, yep. Perhaps other guys like Havili may be a bit disappointed, but when you look at those other outside backs, I mean, Geordie Barrett's kind of on the All Black fast track, so I don't think anyone was going to dislodge him. Naholo and Mulniskata Ioane are kind of the established, incumbents for the All Blacks, so it was always going to be hard. Interesting to see how injuries go. Like Crotty banged his head up in the Blues game, so we'll see if he's fine to continue. Also, guys like Kane and Squire, I had read things about their injury status before the squad naming, so we'll see if they're able to be fit going forward. And that's the squad. Some of these guys, I think, pretty predictable, and like I said, especially Frizzell, I think is a real bolter. But what do you guys think? It's a pretty strong team. Do you think any of these uncapped guys will get some game time, or do you think they will start with a pretty seasoned team to start with? I feel like for the first game they go with the veterans and perhaps experiment for 2 and 3 if things go well in that first one. We'll see what happens. But it's pretty hard to go wrong when picking an All Blacks team, to be fair, because the depth is there. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys again soon, and take care. See you later.